So I don't think it's ever been particularly easy to decide which women to include into your life. It's always been risky at the margins, and it's risky for women at the margins to bring the wrong man into their life. But I think Anthony Johnson made a compelling case yesterday that the margins have encroached into the mainstream, and this is a risky time to have the wrong woman in your world. And I want to make the case today that the men in this room are particularly at risk, because I sit across in my office from a lot of guys who are putting their lives back together after they've had their plans torn asunder by the wrong woman. And I notice something interesting with guys who are successful and motivated. There's a particular blind spot that they can't see with women. And I want to give you today something that hopefully will help you avoid this blind spot if you ever have the opportunity, which hopefully you won't. But the problem that I notice with successful guys, well, let's start with this question. What do women look for in men? Across cultures and throughout time, what do we know about what women seek in men? Well, for complicated questions like that, I like evolutionary psychology because it's a nice framework and there's a lot of numbers and math behind it and research. And what evolutionary psychology teaches us is that women look for traits beyond physical appearance and beyond social connectedness. They look for personality traits, and they look for traits that like intelligence, kindness, industriousness, and the ability to provide. Those 4 traits show up over and over again in the evolutionary literature. And kindness, by the way, doesn't mean nice. I think a lot of you guys have already read that book, and if you've met Dr. Glover this weekend, that guy, he's not a nice guy, but he's a very kind man. So kindness, intelligence, industriousness, and the ability to provide. So who am I describing when I say those four traits? Well, look around. It's you guys. Because I've been talking to you the last few days. I've been taking some notes. I've been watching you. I've never seen a group of guys like this in my life. Hundreds of men in the same room, squared away, motivated, ambitious, moving forward. You got your values in order, or you're getting your values in order, because your values should always be an ongoing process, right? Values are not a destination, they're a process. But I've never seen a group of guys like this. You have, whether you think about yourself this way or not, you have what women are looking for. So congratulations. Here's the bad news. You're vulnerable. And there's an obvious vulnerability and a less obvious vulnerability with successful men. The obvious vulnerability, and I know some of you guys don't think of yourself this way, but maybe change your frame around that. The obvious vulnerability is that when you have what women are seeking, you attract a larger pool of women than the man who doesn't have all of those qualities squared away. And in that pool of women, there's going to be your personal percentage of the opportunists and the gold diggers and the personality disorders. These are the ones that are going to make themselves very apparent to you. They're going to pursue you aggressively. They're the ones that are going to be right in your face. That's the obvious vulnerability. Here's the less obvious vulnerability that I see in my practice over and over with successful guys who possess what women want. It's that they're charmed. See, they're charmed with women. Women have never been much of an issue for them, and there's 2 factors that go into this, I think. Number 1 is that women have always been present for them. They've never had to work as hard as the guy who has to go out and really pursue and try to earn attention. So it's easy for them, and because it's easy for them, women are just sort of present, and if one goes away, another one comes in, and they don't have to work very hard. And this leads men to think that they're charmed with women, which they are. And how do people behave when they're charmed? Well, Napoleon thought he was charmed, so he marched to Russia, and that worked out for shit. So these men who think they're charmed, a lot of times they're focused and they're driven, and that's another quality that women are attracted to. And as they're focused and driven, they're not really paying attention to what women are telling them. And so some of these guys, they reach a point in life where professionally they're squared away, and they get into their 30s or 40s, and they realize that there's something that they want. They want that companionship, they want that family, maybe they want children. And so some of these guys decide to get married without having done the work that men who don't possess those qualities have had to do. And so this is like getting behind the wheel of a Bugatti and you haven't even read the owner's manual. Maybe you get lucky, and probably most guys get lucky and they don't wrap it around a tree. But for some of these guys, problems crop up in their relationship.